AI is all over the news every day. The madcap race to be dominant with AI appears to have affected many businesses and industries. And we also see a lot to be fearful of. But I wonder, can it be truly a helpful tool for retired people and seniors in particular? And we're going to put that question to Jim Love. Now, Jim has a lengthy corporate career. He consulted for and managed half a dozen businesses and IT firms, as well as teaching at the University of Waterloo and York University. Since before the pandemic, Jim has made his permanent home base in the Haliburton Highlands. Jim is well known for his creative undertakings, but today we're tapping into his knowledge of AI. Thanks for joining me, Jim. It's really good to have you with us.
Great to be here. Great to talk to you again. Always a pleasure.
Well, AI is the big shiny thing that appears to be the next huge change agent for so many areas of human life. And I'm wondering, Jim, for us seniors, is this a technology that we can put to use for our needs?
Absolutely. There's all kinds of uses for it. Before we do that, though, I just want to, I'm going to give you my 1 minute course on AI, just to explain what AI is, because it's all over the place. Everybody says everything, but this is, you can take this to the bank. Here's your 1 minute course on AI. What is AI? Short for artificial intelligence. Not hard. It's not a real person, but it could convince you it is these days. But it's a different type of intelligence. And here's what's really cool. AI is really good at things that we don't do very well as people. And actually, and people say, well, it's not that good at a lot of things. Yeah, it sucks at things that we can do. Things that we find easy, it finds hard. Things that we find hard, it finds easy. Sounds like a good match to me. And, just in terms of, people say to me all the time, how does it work? Well, it's based on a simple premise, and that it completes it finds the probability of what's happening, or it searches and finds things. And I'll give you a good example. I'm going to make you into an AI, Mike.
Okay.
I'm going to say, quick as a, what's the word?
Quick as a bunny.
Yeah, quick as a bunny. Yep. Or quick as a fox, right? One of those two things. There's a probability that what you're going to say one of the two of those things, but you're going to complete that. And that's exactly what AI does. It finds the most probable thing that it could be, and it's going to complete that. And it does this in a big way. People say, because it's read the entire internet. I mean, that's one big thing. And the entire internet is rather large. So it knows everything, and it will make those probabilities. But in doing that, it can find anything, it can ask, it can tell you things. And as we found out, there's two different answers we gave in there. So it's not always going to give you the exact answer, but it's going to give you a pretty good answer for what you want. And so how does that work? Well, for seniors, it can help solve some problems. And being a senior myself, here's some problems I have, and you, some of the audience might share them. You ever get those times when you can't remember something? You know it, but you just can't remember it. A book you read, a place you were, all kinds of things. How did this stupid government form that I'm supposed to fill out, but I forgot, So that's one. Here's another one that's great with seniors. You get calls and emails and all this stuff all the time. Is it a scam? Like, is it right? What should I do about it? That's another thing that happens. Here's something that I find terrible. And just because you're involved in technology, people think you can read directions. Well, I'm looking at something and I read these directions and I know every word that I know the meaning of every individual word, but I have no idea what they're talking about, right? So you get all these directions. The other thing is, you're looking for a product, you're looking for something, you want to go and look for it in a store. What are the questions I should ask? What are the things that I should be looking at? Is this a good product? And finally, general questions. Now, how many times have you sat there having your coffee and you're looking at that bird out on the feeder and you go, what is that bird? And is that the same bird that was here last year? I mean, these are the things that mystify me, but all kinds of questions you could have. All of those things you could use AI to work with. And I'll give you an example because we're going to do this show with Mike Jaycock. Everybody knows Mike Jaycock, but do you know Mike used to do a show? Now, I met you when you were at Canoe, but we also met on a show, and you did that every year, and you dressed up like a woman named Dame. I forget. So if you don't know that, type it in to perplexity.ai. And that's the first tool I'm going to give you. Perplexity.ai. And how are you going to remember perplexity? Well, if you're confused, you're perplexed, only this is the reverse of it. So perplexity.ai, and it has the .ai in its name, and you might have typed in .ca for websites or .com. Well, if you type in .ai, then it's worth a lot more. It's a multi-billion-dollar company now because it's got AI right in its name. But this is a great tool. I use it all the time. Looks just like a browser, except it puts a big thing in the center of your screen. So perplexity.ai, and just ask it a question. And just to test it out before this, I asked it a question. I said, hey, Mike Jaycock used to do a show in the Halliburton Highlands. They did it in the winter. And what is it? And it came back and said, Mike Jaycock did the show, and it gave you the whole list. And try it yourself. And you'll see a whole paragraph describing the show, describing the character of Dame Edith, Dame Edna, Dame Edna.
Dame Beatrice.
Dame Beatrice, right. So, and if you forget this stuff after a few years, you still want to enjoy it again, go read it. It's all there. There's a big paragraph on it. Or you want to dive a little deeper. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And I was going to say, Jim, thinking of that kind of general information, I can see where AI could be helpful, with menus or things of that nature. But how good could it be when it comes to, I've got this pain and it's doing this? What could be wrong with me?
Well, if you type in you just talk to it like you would a normal person. And the beauty of it is, and I've said this before, is you can ask the stupidest question over and over again. And it's not like your kids who give you that face when they fix your phone for you. It never makes fun of you. It never says you've asked that before. So you can just go and ask this question, and it'll give you some general information and pretty good information as well. Me being a hypochondriac, I never type that in to any AI program because I'll read it. Oh my God, I've got all these symptoms. But it will tell you many times, it'll suggest things. But for medical advice, it will always tell you to go see a doctor. And if you think you need to see a doctor, you do.
Yeah.
But if you just want to find out, I've got this thing. I got an ache in my shoulder. Is there an exercise or something I could do, or anything like that? Yeah, you can ask the question. I mean, a simple thing. Do your feet swell up? Mine do now. And what do I do about that? Well, type it in. It'll tell you. So there's lots of things you can do.
I see the real benefit in being able to get instructive information out of AI. How do I do this, or what do I do about that? How good is AI when it comes to things like conversation or companionship?
Well, I think we can do this on. This is Chat GPT, and I'll tell you. Hi, Chat GPT. Can you talk to us?
Of course, I'm here. Feel free to ask me anything or let me know what you'd like to chat about.
Now we'll have a little bit of a delay down here because I live in the country and the internet's slow. But that would more or less come in a regular thing. I'm here with my friend Mike Jaycock, and we're talking about the uses that AI might have for seniors. Can you tell me, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. AI can be really beneficial for seniors in a lot of ways. For example, it can help with health monitoring, like reminding them to take medications or even detecting falls. It can also make life a bit easier with things like voice activated assistants, smart home devices, and even companionship through chatbots. It can really enhance quality of life in a lot of meaningful ways.
Yeah, and so you could actually have a conversation with an AI, and it feels like you're having a conversation with a person.
Exactly. The goal is to make interactions as natural and engaging as possible. So it really does feel like you're talking to a friend. It can be a great source of companionship, especially for seniors who might be living alone or just want an easy way to stay connected and engaged.
But it can also solve some real problems. And this is, I'll show you this one, Mike. In the mid, we had the ice storm up here. I have a Champion 850 generator, runs the place. I went out, and you know what it's like when you live, 45 minutes from the nearest service place. There's ice on the road. The generator stopped working. So ChatGPT, I've got a Champion 850 generator. Can you tell me why it would just suddenly stop working and I have to keep restarting it?
There could be a few reasons why your generator might be cutting out. One common issue is that it could be a fuel problem. Maybe the fuel filter is clogged or there's some water or debris in the fuel. Another possibility is the spark plug might be dirty or faulty, causing it to misfire. It could also be something like the oil level being too low, since some generators have a safety feature that shuts them off if the oil is low. It might be worth checking those basics first before having to get it serviced.
And I did. I checked the oil, and my generator started working. So
Wow.
it's also handy to have around in case there are emergencies. And most of you have a phone that will work even for at least for a while, even in a power failure, to answer questions for you. More than that, if you download the app, and you can download the app, ask Perplexity how to do it, and it'll tell you. And it'll come up and it'll say, if you have an iPhone 16 with iOS 16, you're going, what? iOS? What? Just say to Perplexity, look, I'm a senior. I don't understand technology. Tell it to me in simple language. And it will then say, oh, check your main screen. There's a little icon there with it's blue, and it has an A on it. Click on that. It'll literally give you the instructions to install it just like that. But once you get ChatGPT on your phone, you can start talking to it. Oh, you can also talk to it on a computer, but it's just carrying it around. But handy for things when there are emergencies, when there are things that you need to know. How do I do this? We talked about not giving medical advice, and you shouldn't take medical advice from the internet. You never should. But let's say you're stuck somewhere and you've cut yourself or something like that. And you need to know what to do. Well, you can get valuable advice. And I think that's a big useful thing for seniors, particularly. And I love the reason why I introduced the chat piece is some of us don't have the same vision we used to have, or you're not really good at typing, but you can carry on, you can instruct this thing, and you don't need to know a lot about computers.
Yeah. And I see with AI that it could also be a lot of fun for seniors. There are some people getting on in years, and they love puzzles, they love games, uh, they enjoy music, and they just like to have fun. So I could see where AI would be useful for generating a puzzle or generating limericks, whatever it is
Yep.
that kind of floats your balloon.
Get you to, and if you get into the advanced tools, you can have songs, you can make videos, you can send, you don't, I mean, the 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 old vision of the senior who makes the photocopier joke and sends that out. You don't need that anymore. You can send them a video now, and I think, and it is fun and it's interesting to do. But you can also, you can cheat at the crossword every once in a while too, and ask it what the answer is. It'll tell you.
I never thought of that one.
You know, like, yeah. If you want to seem smarter for your kids, and they phone you up and say, "Oh, I reset my iPhone today," and they say, "You did?" You say, oh yes, I got the iOS 16.2 and did all that sort of stuff. You can do that because you can do it with ChatGPT. So
I was reading just today, and it points up some of the difficulties with this new era of computing and AI. And they're talking about a community that was experiencing a tremendous problem of loss of water and water pressure
hmm
because of the use of so much. And it was something in the order of, I don't know, 50,000 gallons of water a day to cool these computer facilities. And I wonder if that is something that's going to have to be taken into account as we see the growth of this computer monster in the future.
this is the dark side of AI, and that is that it requires incredible processing power right now. And it uses a lot of water. And I did a story on my show. I do a tech newscast every day. And I did a show on one place people were living beside one of these big data centers. And they all thought, well, we want these big data centers to come into our town. We're going to pay them a lot of money and all that sort of stuff. There's a downside to it. They use a lot of water. One poor lady had their water stopped working. Their water turned to sludge. Their well was no longer working. Their house is practically valueless because of that. And of course, this is a big company and they have tons of money. So they'll send you all the scientific studies to say it's not their fault. I mean, so, it's literally a David versus Goliath type of thing. And that's something that's part of the social, and there will be more social issues with AI that we need to prepare for. In Canada, though, we've got this Canada-US thing right now. Everybody says we should let American data centers come up here. No, we should build Canadian data centers and lease them to them because we have lots of water and we have lots of power, and that power is 87% of our power grid is from renewable resources or natural resources. So it's non-polluting. And we could run all their AI for them, and they can pay us, and as long as they agree to become the 11th province. Um, you know, so but the idea of the ecological damage that could be done by this is big. But they are working on smaller models. They will have to cope with this, but it is going to be a problem.
And you would think that governments will have to have a look at how these large data centers interact with the communities and the areas that they're considering putting these places, and whether or not, I was saying to my wife this morning, I'd put them all on the seaboard and make them use desalination plants to access their own water
Yep.
and clarify the water and get a benefit out of it at the same time.
Yep. Or I did an interview with somebody who was they took water out of the humid air and and put that together. But in Canada or Greenland, stick them up north where it's cold. You don't have as much problem with cooling. And there are things we can do if we're smart. And maybe you could even ask AI what you should do. It'll probably give you a better answer.
Well said, well said. Well, it's a force that's with us, and it will continue to develop and evolve. And we'll see many positive things come out of it in business and industry.
Yep.
And listening to you today, I can see that if we allow our minds to think about how to incorporate AI into our daily needs, that it can be a useful and a rather simple tool.
It can be very useful. I'll give you one more place that it's better at looking at X-rays and tests than a doctor. It can do it faster. We can solve our healthcare crisis with AI. But we have to use it responsibly. And this is something, we've got a large senior office. Just because we're seniors doesn't mean we don't have a responsibility to that next generation. And we're a big voting bloc. And we need to stand up to the politicians and say, we like this AI thing, but we want it done responsibly. And that's a voice we can have. And if they hear that, if they hear us all say it with a loud voice, in the same way that lady said, you know, you're going to lose on this one, Charlie Brown, to a famous politician. If we all said that, we want this done responsibly so that our children have a better world, politicians will listen, and they need to.
Jim, thank you for this. Appreciate the input for us seniors. This has been not only a bit of fun, but it's been illuminating too. Thanks very much for this.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Mike. Always a pleasure.
Jim Love resides permanently in the Haliburton Highlands, and Jim has, for many years, consulted for and managed half a dozen businesses and IT firms, as well as teaching at the University of Waterloo and York University.
Very nicely done, Michael.